Why did you climb Mount Everest?
There was a lot of reasons, and some of them were legitimate and some of them were illegitimate. And the mountain exposed all of them. It exposed all of them.
Yeah.
I was, well, let's start with the worst reason. The worst reason that I knew was bullshit before I even went to Nepal was I wanted, and it wasn't the main reason, but I want to be in integrity and tell you, like, it was probably like 20 to 30% in the concoction.
Yeah.
And that was, I wanted to be cool.
Of course.
I wanted to be a guy that did it.
It's the tallest mountain in the world. You did it.
Yeah. I wanted to be able to
succeeded.
say, I fucking did it.
Yeah.
Right. So that reason sucks. I already knew that reason sucked before I left.
Yeah.
So there's that one. Then this was a more complicated reason, which was I wanted to explore myself and my potential. Could I do it? And become a version of myself I was proud of. And then once I committed to doing it with my coach, there was my integrity itself, my word. So it was like those three reasons. Now I'm there. Reason number one, I already know is bullshit. As I start to climb the mountain, and it's like a guy I know who's a really experienced climber, and he goes up and he comes down, and he's got frostbite on all 10 fingers. And there's another guy that goes, so it doesn't come back down. The second reason about exploring myself and becoming a version of myself that I'm proud of, I'm realizing this reason sucks too. Because exploring yourself and becoming a version of yourself that you're proud of is a beautiful practice. But when pushed to the very extreme, which is what Everest is actually a really selfish thing. And I think a silly thing to die for. Right? Like, we as men, we should be ready to die for, like, our girl, our mothers. Like, that's a valid reason to put your life on the line.
Yeah.
I was putting my life on the line for my own self-exploration. So now I'm like getting to Camp 1, I'm like, that one's gone too. Because you run out of all three, you're not going to keep going up. We get to Camp 2. And Camp 2 is like the worst place. My least favorite place on planet Earth is Camp 2 on Mount Everest.
Why?
The air consists of 1/3 of the oxygen that the air we're breathing right now.
What's the elevation of Camp 2?
21,000 feet, roughly. And it's big camp, so it can vary. But it's 21,000 feet plus.
Yeah.
And it just feels horrible to be a human there. It really does. And we just did breath work before we started recording. It's like the opposite of that. I mean, for me to walk from like here to the door, it would feel like you just did wind sprints. I'm not exaggerating. Little menial tasks like going to the bathroom are really hard. And when you go to sleep, the respiratory rate in the human body naturally slows down, right? You sleep, your breath slows down. When I would start to fall asleep there, I'd get about 1 or 2 breaths. The respiratory rate would slow down, and my body would think it was suffocating. So it would wake me up like that. So you're just there and you're not sleeping. And we were there.
Did you get headaches?
Bro, headache, man.
Nausea?
You got a headache like the whole time, like the whole expedition.
Yeah.
And you start to become dumber.
Right.
You know, it's probably why
delirious at all?
Probably why I don't know how old I am to this day.
You get delirious? Start tripping?
I didn't trip till Camp 4. We can talk about that after if you want.
Yeah.
But Camp 2, it's just really hard to be happy. You know, it's like, it's not this Mike Posner. It's not like, it's you at your worst. You're at 10%, 15% of your battery's at 10 or 15%. And you're only at Camp 2.
Yeah.
And then you're going to go try climb Everest from there.
Yeah.
You're not like happy or inspired. It's like, you feel like shit. And it's a storm there, which we knew was coming, but we knew good weather was after that, and we wanted to be in position to go higher. And on tall mountains, steep mountains, when it snows a lot, you don't climb because that's when avalanches happen.
So you're just posted up there for
So we were posted, not days and days, but like 3 days at Camp 2. And we're waiting, and it's the day after the storm, and I'm laying in the tent next to my coach, Dr. John. He's somehow sleeping. He's been on a lot more 8,000 meter peaks than me. I'm just awake, and I hear this rumble. It's the sound of an avalanche. And it was a sound I'd heard before, and usually they're like far away. So I didn't freak out on the sound, but moments later, I did freak out because our tent ripped open. Snow started to pummel my face, fill up my sleeping bag. And Aaron, I didn't think I was going to die. I knew I was going to die.
Damn.
Avalanche, it's really hard to survive those, but there's like a small chance you could get rescued, but there's no chance you get rescued like that high on Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's not a thing. So
you can't get helicopters up there. There's not enough.
You could get a
resistance
helicopter to Camp 2. That's the highest they can go.
Okay.
But like, even if I like somehow survived, like, how the fuck would I get back? Now I'm like, I'm not in my gear. My gear's gone. I'm in my sleep. Like, it's the nonstop. I knew it was over, and I just felt terror. It was not a good feeling. And I was screaming. I was saying, John, avalanche, avalanche, avalanche. John woke up out of a dead sleep like you did at the Waterloo moment. He wakes up out of a dead sleep. He put his hand on my arm, and he like almost clairvoyantly says, "It's gonna be okay." And almost like magic, the wind stopped, the snow stopped coming in. It just all stopped. And I look, my hands are shaking like this, and I'm like, we figured out that the avalanche stopped right before it hit our camp. So what we felt was the displacement of air that the slide pushed. It's like an air blast.
Like a bomb.
Yeah, and that could fuck you up and kill you too.
Wow. Holy shit.
But it didn't, thankfully. Like, you know what I mean? Thankfully. And so we were lucky. But I think about that moment a lot of John. Like, I'm at my worst. I'm at 10%. I'm bitchy. I'm questioning all my reasons, and he just, without thinking, he didn't gear himself up. He didn't do breath work. He didn't meditate. Out of a dead sleep. It's gonna be okay. And I think about that. I think, man, like I just want to do that for other people that are in like other kinds of avalanches in their lives.
Yeah.
Emotional avalanches, spiritual avalanches. You know, sometimes we're the person that's freaking out, and sometimes we're the person that could give someone else the gift of just saying, man, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, there's a Thich Nhat Hanh quote about that.
Love him.
Yeah, around essentially just that. Like if everything's in chaos and everyone's freaking out and everyone's having a breakdown, all it takes is one person to maintain serenity and calm, and that can kind of dispel the whole situation. We just need one anchor. Like, find me an anchor.
Yeah.
As long as we have one anchor, it's like, oh, okay, cool.
That's leadership.
Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. If you did, feel free to tag us on the Instagram. You can find me at Aaron Alexander on there. Also check out the YouTube channel that is at Align Podcast. Subscribe over there so you get each week's videos and instructional content. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for reviews. Thanks for doing you. I'll see you next week.